Hey there, happy afternoon. It's Friday. I have thunder rumbling outside of my home at the moment. Ooh, ominous. It's got to be a good sign. Because within the clouds, God put a rainbow for me. So, for those of you out there who are joining me today, I want to ask you, do you know what it's meaning to go for radical forgiveness? And when I say radical forgiveness, I mean really sitting down with yourself and recognizing that it's okay to be where you're at. Don't beat yourself up. If you're anything like I am, I can beat myself up because I have high expectations of myself. And when I make a commitment and I don't follow through, or something fails to get me to that commitment, whatever it is, I turn inside, and the dialogue that comes from my mind, it can be brutal. So even someone else bringing it to my attention, it pounds it into me even more. I grew up being very hard on myself and being a very strong go-getter, motivated all the time to do the right thing, go above and beyond, and at the same time needing to please people, not recognizing that I didn't need to go to such extremes and to be kinder with myself. And see, all of this really goes back to self, and it all goes internally. So as much as we want to be competitive, be strong, be motivated, there are moments when you have to stop and check in with yourself. You have to go into the mind and ask, is this kind? Is this true? How is it serving me? How is it supporting me? Is it allowing me to grow? Is it nurturing that growth? Am I evolving as a result of what is going on in the mind? So very often for me, I want to do and be for so many others that I tend to overlook what I need. And in my past, my self-care took a back seat. And so I was neglecting my own needs. And what we don't realize is we need to start with ourselves. We need to heal ourselves before we can be expected and fully support others around us. When we are not nurtured, when we are not supported, when we don't feel love for ourselves first, we're not 100% able to give exactly what it is we need in return. And this is why it is really so important to tap in to yourself, where you're at, where your mind goes, to be forgiving, loving, kind, nurturing to any thoughts that come into your awareness. Because a lot of times it's going to be this negative self-talk that brings you down. The mind will pull you down into that gutter, into the despair. And those are the moments when you need to challenge and sit with it and go, is this real? Is this true? Is this reality? Because it's going into an old pattern. And when you can recognize an old pattern, as Maya Angelou says, to know better is to do better. So when you know better, you have the opportunity to do better, and you actually have the moral obligation to do better, because now you have an awareness, and awareness is key, right? So if anybody out there would like to share, I, for example, the past few days have been dealing with a lot of self-care and overwhelm because I attended and played a game that is all about spiritual growth and forgiveness and healing. It was called Satori. Now that's Satori, and Colin Tippin is the creator, and it's about radical forgiveness. This is where it originated. There's a book called Radical Forgiveness, and this is what it's all based on. And I want you to know that this was so powerful, and especially when you do it in group energy, because everybody's there to hold space and support you through the process. It was powerful enough that when I came home and I was exhausted, because it's challenging. I mean, you confront some past issues. You have to actually look at stuff in your life. Look at the old story, create a new story, heal it, work through it. I came home, I drew an Epsom salt bath immediately, and I soaked and allowed myself to just release into it for over an hour. And then I crawled into my bed and went to sleep. I didn't expect the past couple days to be so taxing on me whatsoever. So even yesterday, I woke up after getting lots of sleep, feeling like I should have been rested. My body was still telling me, rest, take it easy. And later in the evening, I was even in bed early, and my mind was flip-flopping because it turned out I missed an appointment earlier in the day. I was completely unaware and ungrounded as to what was occurring. So missing that appointment, I started to get a little bit in my head with the whole disappointing the individual that I let down at that moment. And then I had to go to an appointment, and then I had to teach Kundalini Yoga. So as a result of all of this, my day was very exhausting and taxing. And that's what the mind will do. When you sit there and you're attacking yourself, you're beating yourself up for not meeting an expectation that you set for yourself or for another, that is exhausting emotionally, mentally, and physically. Most people don't want to recognize the physical as a symptom of the emotional and the mental. But that is the direct line. The link right there. Everything we start out in the mind manifests in the body. So this morning I had another commitment, and I'm just grateful I have amazing souls to hold me in sacred space and be so forgiving and loving that although I woke up later than I anticipated, I still dragged myself outside because part of my mind could have just curled back in bed, put the covers over my head and said, no, I didn't make it on time, so I'm just going to sit here and lay in despair, and I would have been worse. But I dragged myself out. I got up, I got ready and out the door, bolted to where I needed to be, met my commitment, and even still, while my mind was really disappointed in myself, I was beating myself up, I was also challenging it at the same time and saying, you know they're holding space for you. You are supported. You are loved. They're holding you. They're there to support you. And it really touched my heart to be able to recognize that for myself, this old pattern, this beating up that I tended in my past to do, because that was radical forgiveness. That was me reaching into the depths of, it's okay. You are supported no matter what. They're still going to love you. They're going to hold sacred space. And they're going to accept you where you're at in this moment. Because you're accepting yourself where you're at in this moment. And again, like I said, it always comes back to self. So this was a blessed day because with self-acceptance, when you can radically forgive yourself, comes the self-acceptance and the self-love. It's that opportunity for growth, expansion, nurturing. When you can start out, even the small steps, and see your patterns and give yourself that opportunity to heal through it, again, the awareness is key, then you have that opportunity to move forward in growth. Because just like in the physical body, when there's a blockage, just like in the physical or the mental mind, you have to actually sit with it and allow that energy to move. So I hope everybody is having a blessed day. I know these days have been challenging. A lot of energy stirred in a lot of people, a lot of discomfort in the unknown, the unfamiliar, the not knowing what's going to happen next. But did you know nobody ever knows what's going to happen next? You can assume and you can have this perceived reality where you manifest, but just be present in this moment and really sit with yourself and be nurturing with your mind, body, and soul. Connect the Holy Trinity and allow them to work in harmony and healing from the inside out. I love you all. Have an amazing evening. Take care. Namaste, Satnam, Waheguru.